Welcome to the International Vulture Awareness Day. My name is Steffen Oppel. I work for the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds as a scientist to find out why globally threatened species are endangered and to develop solutions how we can protect them. Today I will talk to you about the Egyptian vulture and what threatens this species on its migration between Europe and Africa. Enjoy the presentation.
Hello and welcome to a presentation about the key threats to Egyptian vultures along the eastern Mediterranean flyway. I'm going to start by introducing that vultures in general are in trouble around the world. In South Asia we have a cattle drug called diclofenac that killed 99% of vultures in just over a decade. In Europe we had sanitary regulations over the last 2 decades that caused food shortages across the continent, and in Africa many vulture populations are declining because they're being accidentally and deliberately poisoned. Now all of these threats are a huge problem to each of the vulture populations on every single continent, but imagine you're a vulture species that crosses all of these continents. That is the Egyptian vulture. The Egyptian vulture is the smallest of the 4 European vultures, and it routinely flies from Europe to Africa across various continents, and therefore is exposed to all the threats that happen along the flyway. Egyptian vultures migrate on average about 5,000 kilometers on a single journey, and this map shows you the tracks that we have obtained in the last 10 years from birds that we equipped with satellite transmitters. The yellow dots on this map show you where we have caught the birds, and the blue lines show the migrations during the autumn season, so between July and December, and the red lines show the migrations during spring when the birds return from wintering grounds in Africa to breeding areas in Europe. And you can see that these birds cross pretty much all of northern Africa, the Middle East and Eastern Europe. So they are exposed to a huge variety of different countries, regulations and threats that occur, and that they have to cross every year twice during their migration in autumn and in spring. So the major threats that Egyptian vultures are exposed to vary a lot between their breeding areas, their migration areas and the wintering areas. On the Balkan peninsula, where the Egyptian vultures breed, we have a big problem with accidental poisoning that causes mortality that is mostly a result of people like livestock herders having conflicts with wild predators. They try to protect their sheep and their goats by poisoning wild predators, and the Egyptian vultures are unfortunate victims of this process because they're uniquely capable of finding dead carcasses, and so they find the poisoned carcass much faster than other species, eat it and then die. We also have a problem with infrastructure, poorly designed electricity pylons and a huge array of wind turbines, especially in Greece, that can cause mortality from electrocution or from collision and therefore lead to territories being abandoned. As the Egyptian vultures migrate further, they have to cross Turkey, and in Turkey they're again exposed to electrocution on poorly designed power lines. We found lots and lots of birds, not only vultures but also storks and other raptors, that were electrocuted on small distribution power lines along the flyway in Turkey, and we've lost several of our satellite tracked Egyptian vultures in Turkey because they were electrocuted on poorly insulated power lines. We also have a problem in Turkey that there is ongoing habitat loss because economic expansion converts many natural habitats. There is less food available for vultures, the livestock herds shrink in size, and so there's a general problem that habitat and food is less available in Turkey. As the birds go into the Middle East, they are exposed to problems of direct persecution. especially in Lebanon, Syria and Egypt, many migratory birds are shot on migration, and that includes the Egyptian vulture. They're also occasionally caught. That picture at the bottom in the middle shows a juvenile Egyptian vulture that was seen on a market in Lebanon. We also have a problem of an expanding electricity network that connects newly built wind power generation facilities and large electricity networks, which partly have poor design, like the pylon in the bottom right that is from Jordan, or that have the problem that we have in Saudi Arabia, where people dispose livestock carcasses directly underneath power lines. So the livestock carcasses attract Egyptian vultures and other vultures to these areas where they are then at risk of collision or electrocution with those power lines. In Saudi Arabia, we also have a big problem from poisoning, not necessarily because of only livestock herders trying to protect their livestock, but also because the same drug that has killed all the vultures in South Asia, diclofenac, being widely available in veterinary pharmacies there and widely used to treat livestock in Saudi Arabia, which are then openly disposed in the desert and available for vultures. As we go into Africa, we have yet another threat. Again, it is direct persecution, but for a different reason. In Nigeria, there is a huge market demand for vulture products, and that drives the decline of vulture populations in Nigeria and Niger and other neighboring countries. We did surveys on markets in Nigeria and found that of 300 sellers that we asked, all of them would sell Egyptian vulture parts. But the vultures in Nigeria are now so rare that it is almost impossible to find Egyptian vultures. And when we asked the vulture traders on the market what the reason was why there are no vultures anymore in Nigeria, they all pretty much said that the trade is the root cause for the decline of vulture populations. And because there are now no longer vultures in Nigeria, the hunters that supply the markets travel to neighboring countries like Niger to shoot the vultures there and bring them to markets in Nigeria. And the country that has the largest population of wintering Egyptian vultures is Ethiopia. And in Ethiopia, we again have a problem with a very badly designed and a rapidly increasing electricity network that has very poorly designed small power distribution lines that pose a very high risk of electrocution to Egyptian vultures. We also have the problem that an invasive mesquite bush was introduced to stop desertification, and that bush grows quite dense stands that allow hyenas and other livestock predators to sneak up to livestock. And so in the past, livestock herders in northeastern Ethiopia would simply shoot hyenas and other animals that would threaten their livestock, but because now they can't see those predators anymore in this dense bush, they use poison to poison the predators, which again poses a huge risk to vultures and the Egyptian vulture in particular, by finding these poisoned baits and carcasses and then succumbing to the poison themselves. And a third problem in Ethiopia is the poisoning of feral dogs, especially around rubbish dumps and abattoirs where there is a huge amount of human waste that causes or is an attractive food source for feral dogs. And so these feral dogs can spread rabies, and so health authorities then go about to try and remove those dogs by using poison baits. And again, this poses a risk to Egyptian vultures if those dogs are not disposed of very carefully, so they're not accessible to vultures. So we have different threats among different countries on continents, and to address them we need different solutions along the flyway in every single country. Poisoning and electrocution are the key threats that occur pretty much everywhere along the flyway, and they affect all large migratory raptors, the Egyptian vulture, but also other species like the steppe eagle or many other vultures that are resident in Africa. There are some solutions that are readily available for some of the threats. For example, the badly designed electricity infrastructure can be insulated with simple tools and techniques, and these solutions need to be urgently implemented across the flyway where this is a major problem. Thank you very much for your attention.